I'm Chris Brogan. I am so lucky to have a chance to talk to Pete Wikul. To be honest, between us and the camera here, we did this once and I broke it once, so Pete was kind enough to come back. Pete is co-founder of Mission Ready, which is a company that does all kinds of things with fitness, nutrition, sleep, and all that. Before that, you had a slightly different gig. You spent over 39 years of service as a Navy SEAL. You were given the title of Bullfrog 13. Bullfrog is this very kind phrasing that is done in the SEALs to say that you were the longest standing person on duty for a duration of time, I guess. Do I have that right, Pete? Please straighten me out on how we assign that name.
The Bullfrogs, when they served, they're the longest serving SEAL on active duty. So when I got the title, I had about 35 years in, 34 years as a SEAL, and I had more time as a SEAL than anybody else. And then when you retire, you give the trophy and the title to somebody else.
It's kind of a beautiful tradition. So you and your friend Jim McKay started this company after you got out. Tell just a little bit of the story of that. How did Mission Ready get started?
Mission Ready got started about a year before I retired. My friend Jim McKay, and I call him Skip, he was my first swim buddy in training in 1971, and we've been lifelong friends. And he said, "What are you going to do when you retire?" And then we discussed it. And, I told him I was interested in health and in a bunch of different things. And he knew someone that had a company that produced nutraceuticals. And we decided to have our own line and do our own thing. And so he had been in the business world, and I had been kind of like a military entrepreneur, if you would. I did a bunch of my own startups. And so we just started this thing. We started collaborating, and when I retired, we started putting it together. And it's taken us two and a half years, but nothing happens overnight. You got to have the art of the long view. Peter Schwartz wrote a book, The Art of the Long View. And if you take the long view and you stick with it, you'll be a success. So we decided to do that.
You were co-awarded the 1988 Nobel Peace Prize, you and others, for service, I believe it was in Lebanon, if I'm right. You've gone from this to, you serve as vice president of America Works, which is a workforce development firm. You've done stuff like helping people with homelessness, HIV and AIDS and all that. And in some reason, you decided in your spare time, I think I would also like to develop a nutraceutical lines. That came partially, I think you said, from injuries that you suffered and trying to deal with your life when you were recovering from burns. But then also some other things come into this. What makes you say, I think I'm not busy enough, I can't possibly put it all down yet, I think I'll start a nutraceuticals company. And I guess what gave you the confidence to feel like that was all going to work for you?
Well, I've always been interested in health and wellness, and I've been my own laboratory since my mid-20s. And there's a lot of good products out there, but I like what I wound up doing was using a bit of everybody else's product. It seems like no product that I've ever taken was the end-all, the be-all. So I've always been interested in my own formulations, and I've worked with a doctor of traditional Chinese medicine the last 6 or 8 years, and I've gotten into holistic medicine because I think it works better. Like you said, having suffered from burns of 75% of my body, really bad herniated disc from too much parachuting, and the pharmaceuticals not working for me and relieving my pain, and I always thought there was a better way. So it's sort of like, I just had to do this. If it was important to me, it's important for other people as well. And I want to share what I have learned with other people.
Pete, you mentioned sort of making your own mixes and all that. Show us, if you have it handy again, and if not, totally cool. You talked about the difference between what you were taking for your own sleep regimen versus what you ended up putting together for Sleep Ready. And I don't know if you even have those bottles laying around, but if not, go through the explanation because it's amazing. Last time when we did this, it was amazing just to see how much stuff you were taking to kind of get sleep put together, all natural stuff, but just,
yeah,
and then what you made.
I do have our Sleep Ready formula, and it's one bottle, and it works really well. It works for me and a lot of other people. But what I was doing before, I had tryptophan, valerian, melatonin. What else? I had GABA, chamomile, 5 or 6 different things. And it was sort of like, I had my own concoction, and it was sort of like, but I'm taking all this stuff and it's a lot of pills, and there's a lot of fillers and stuff like that. So now essentially all I really need to do is take the sleep ready. And if I really need to sleep, I'll also complement that with a cup of chamomile tea and take it about an hour before sleep. And I'll have to say something with this formulation. It's like when I take it, I cannot remember falling asleep. And before, it used to be, because I had sleep apnea and a whole bunch of sleep problems, I'd lay in bed and 2 hours later, I'd still be counting sheep or whatever, and it was like, it was miserable. And so I started making my own concoctions, and then it was sort of like, look, there's got to be a better way to do this. And so that's what we're doing with Mission Ready, is we're trying to solve specific people's problems, whether they be sleep, eye problems, or whatever.
One of the things I thought about is, again, with your previous career as a SEAL, you had to snatch sleep where you could. I mean, it's not exactly an 8 to 5 kind of a job. And I know that, when you were operating, it must have been, more than 1 day or 2 before you could get some sleep sometimes, getting towards a week.
I'm sorry. I remember one time was 3.5 days, and I was so tired. And it was in the Persian Gulf, and I was running patrols. I was so tired, and I really needed sleep. They put a guard outside my door, so I got 8 straight hours of sleep.
Wow, 3 days running, though. That kind of a thing obviously wipes you out. But it also, messing with your circadian rhythms, the way people have to travel and all that. Like you said, you're in the Gulf. You're not in your time zone. Yeah. You've found that through Sleep Ready, this is going to help the at least road warrior, if not the professional warrior, to get their sleep handled. Is that basically the deal?
Yes, but you also, one of the things we point out on our website and everything is that you have to start developing good sleep habits, and you have to develop regularities. That's what a circadian rhythm is. It's a rhythm. And very often in this fast-paced world, information age world, it's hard to do that for a lot of people. So if you really can't do that, then you really do need a sleep aid. I've got problems with the pharmaceuticals because Scripps did a study, and if you take 6 to 12 prescription tablets a year, you can have a premature death. You could read the study. Whereas this is an all-natural product, it's not going to hurt you. And if you need it, take it. If you're sleeping well, then you don't need it. But I find it helps me get a good night's rest. It's not just sleep, it's rest, and it's waking up refreshed, Chris.
Well, looking over some of your other work that you've done, you are a man who's learned that recovery is every bit a part of fitness. You were running, did I get this right? Around the age of 47, you were running 50-mile ultramarathons?
I started running 50-milers at age 47. I was commanding officer of SEAL Delivery Vehicle Team 2, and all my young kids could just tear me apart on the short runs, so I needed a gimmick. And so I said, I'm going to run these really, really long runs. And some of them ran with me. And when the race was over, it broke all of them. I was the only one broken. I said, hey, this is a good deal for me. So they left me. And I would tell them, let's go on a 10 or 15 mile. And they go, sir, you run your run and we'll run our run. So they would leave me alone. And it turned out I'm going to run another one this year. I've significantly healed to where I can run now. I've got drop foot on the left foot, so I'm going to run a little bit funny, but I'm going to get out there and do it for the simple reason, Chris, is I can't be a co-founder of this wonderful company and not lead by example. So I'm 60 years old now, and this November I'm going to run the JFK 50 again because it's a leadership thing. If I'm going to lead the company, I'm going to take our products, and I'm going to be in great health and shape.
So co-founding Mission Ready wasn't enough. Running, part of America Works wasn't enough. You might as well, at age 60, jump out and run a 50-mile race again, because why not?
Well, let me, Carl, the oldest guy that I remember running it when I got the results in, there was a guy that was 81 years old, Carl Llewellyn. He ran the JFK 50 in the allotted time of under 13 hours. And I said, I've got a lot of personal heroes in life, and I said that guy is one of my new heroes. If I can run 50s at 81, I will be one fit human being at that age.
No question at all. One last question. I can find more information about this at getmissionready.com. A question for you. This whole new online world, obviously a lot of this wasn't your daily regimen back in the day. Are you finding it interesting and weird to kind of see how many people you can reach now in this new online space?
Well, yes, and the world has changed. It's an information-driven world, and if you don't keep up with it and you don't learn it, you're going to be left behind. And everybody goes on the internet. If you have a problem, the first thing I do when I think of something, I get on the internet, I Google it or I Yahoo it, and I try to get all the information I can. So this media is a good media for getting your word out.
Well, Bullfrog 13 and many other things. Pete Wikul, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate your availability.
Hey, anytime, Chris, and thank you. You have a wonderful day.